everyone. This is me, Nikki Haverstock. This is RuPaul's Drag Race All-Star 6, Episode 1, All-Star Variety Extravaganza. So I went back and forth on whether or not I was going to recap this, but I have so many queens on this show that I really like that I decided I would just go ahead and do it. I'm going to go pretty in depth because my assumption is that a lot of people are not going to get the Paramount Plus app to watch the show and are instead going to watch a recap. So instead of just kind of, a lot of times I only talk about the stuff I think is interesting. I'm going to try, I took pretty extensive notes this time. Just so you know, it is only streamable in the US, which shocks me. The app is $5 if you have it with commercials. I think it was like $10 without. You can get 1 month free. And this morning, early, the first and second episode dropped. From what I heard, you, if I understood correctly, you can watch on the app for free the first episode. I haven't watched the second one, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to do video 1. Probably tonight I'll try to watch episode 2 and I'll do a recap and hopefully get that up in a day or two. I will say I made the mistake at one point of hitting the like automatic 10-second rewind button. Whole app locked up. Couldn't get the video to play. Had to exit out and come back like 4 times. So don't rewind is what I'm saying. We have 13 queens. So I went into the app and almost had a heart attack when it said the first episode was called It Takes Two, because I was like, no! And then I saw that that was season 1 of All Stars episode, and then I went over to season 6 and everything was fine. So it's the standard. At this point, we now have a standard. The first episode is the variety show. And at this point, they should almost just call it the song and dance show, but I'll get to that in a second. So I'm going to run through all 13 queens. We have season 11 is represented the most. But we have queens all the way back to season 2. We have a season 2 queen. We have a season 3 queen. Yes, season 3 queen. We have, and we have quite a few of my favorite queens. I shouldn't say quite a few. Last time we had more of my favorite queens, but I have quite a few here that I like, that I'm excited to see. But for me, I'm going to go through, I'm going to give you kind of some of my impressions, what seasons they were from, all of that. But for me, this is a fresh start. So we're going to see where people are, because especially with season 2, that was so many years ago at this point, like a decade. If they have been consistently working this whole time, it should show. And if they haven't been consistently working, it's going to show in how little they've evolved. So we'll get there. Aquarius season 11 finalist, Jiggly Caliente, who was on season 4, previously performed as, appeared as a man, now a trans woman, and made references to previous appearance being very emotional. So we're going to see kind of how that plays out. Jansport season 12. So it's always weird to me to get these timelines matched up, because they would have been filming this while season 13 was airing, I think, or hadn't even aired yet. So she said I came right back. So in my head, I'm thinking, well, it's been a couple years, but that's not actually what happened. It was very, very soon. A lot of people thought it was too soon, that Jan should have waited a year or 2. She didn't want to. She refers to herself as being unhinged and always at 11. I found it kind of enjoyable. So there you go. Raja O'Hare, another season 11, feels they didn't show themselves. I think this is really common. You see this a lot where people either, it seems like almost everyone comes back saying, I'm gonna fix what I think I did wrong last time. And sometimes they fix the wrong thing, you know, like, so we're going to see how that goes. Ginger Minge, one of my favorites, was on season 11 with Katya and Trixie Mattel. The joke being that Ginger was all the time being Katya's best friend. And anyway, I really liked Ginger. She considers herself the OG big girl to make it to the finale. So I'll take her word on that. I'm a big fan of Ginger Minge. Was on season 11, made it to the finale, and then was in the bottom 4 of All Stars 2. I mean, we know how this works. That some of that stuff is so random when it comes to the people. I remember her best as doing that amazing Adele in Snatch Game, which they showed. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember this. Yara Sofia, another big favorite of mine, made the top 4. Is from Puerto Rico. Season 3 was an All-Stars 1 and went out, I think, first. What they didn't mention about Yara Sofia, and I actually was thinking about, is Yara Sofia kind of self-eliminated? She didn't self-eliminate, but she kind of gave up halfway through. It was her and Alexis Mateo, and they were lip-syncing. Alexis Mateo, earlier in the episode, had wanted to go home, and Yara talks her into it, and then Yara just kind of broke down during the lip sync and just kind of like lay on the floor. And I really feel for her. It really didn't feel like a petulant, like, how dare you put me in the bottom. It just felt like I just can't keep up this level of intensity for this long, and she broke. They didn't mention that they didn't mention, and I was like, maybe I don't remember that correctly. So if I got that wrong, let me know, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And I mean, the thing about it was that was season 2. Season 1 was so under the radar. It had that, we always put the Vaseline filter. You know, it wasn't really, I think I was one of the few people who watched it. I mean, it just wasn't really popular. Later on in seasons, we had this thing where you could become a breakout star. Trixie Mattel was someone who is, you know, kind of left in the middle. Of course, she went on to win All-Stars, but before she was even on All-Stars, her star was rising. They had already done, they had gotten a show on Vice by the time that she was actually going to All-Stars and won. But then later on, we had Alexis Mateo going home first. So now it's sort of like, we know that you should do with the time what you could. I think back then, especially in she was on season 3. So I apologize for that, but it still was growing. It wasn't what it is now. But anyway, my point being that I don't blame her for that, and I think the environment's changed. There's a lot more prizes along the way. There's a lot more opportunity to, you know, if you make it to top 4, you're guaranteed work, stuff like that. Anyway, I had to just mention that. We had Silky, season 11. Silky was pretty intense in her season. She does say that she likes a lot of the stuff she did. There's some stuff that she would change. So that's fair enough. I've seen Silky on a few other things, and she can be really funny. She's really good friends with Alexis Mateo. Not Alexis Mateo. Vanjie. You know. Anyway, Vanjie, and I've seen her on other stuff, and for me, she wasn't my favorite in season 11, but I'm going to start over because she also received a lot of hate she didn't deserve. So, was there some valid criticism? Yes, but she definitely got a lot of blowback that she didn't deserve. So for me, we're starting at 0. I'd love to see Silky did a really great thing with pulling out of milk and cookies and stuff like that. And yeah, she said she was doing it wrong. Pandora Box, season 2, All-Stars 1. She was Miss Congeniality of season 2. She went home. She was not, her words, not Miss Congeniality of All-Stars 1. She was paired with, I can't remember her name, the gal who picked up the other queen and got kicked off the show. She was paired on All-Stars 1. If you don't know, they were paired up with her, and it didn't go real well. Pandora Box was the season 2, sort of I was going to say she was the first of the quirky girls that we didn't understand, but I think that has to go to Tammy Brown being season 1. But Pandora for me was someone who I just loved, and I watched the show going, why don't you guys see how fun she is? And she is that sort of Eureka type of character, Ben de la Creme in her first season, not All-Stars where she dominated, but there seems to be every season, at least, we have these characters that are so quirky and weird and the judges don't get and the audience loves. And that Pandora Box was, for me, she was the original, but really in season 1, we also had Tammy Brown, who was if there's a drag equivalent of the manic pixie, what is it? Manic pixie something girl. Anyway, that's sort of the drag equivalent. Serena Chacha from season 5. She says that she was a very strong season, which is true. Season 5 was very strong. And she just wasn't up for it. That's true. She was a little kind of arrogant. She kind of thought she was a little smarter than everyone else. Because if I remember correctly, she was from art school. I need to look that up. But anyway, but comes in very like, oh, everybody knows about my wigs. I didn't know she was doing wigs, but no, none of that. Sonique, who now goes by Kylie Sonique, also it's also season 2. I found her a little mean in her season, so I'm just going to say that. But she previously was on the show as a man. Now she's a trans woman, so that is different. Looks beautiful. Eureka, who was on season 9 and 10. Eureka got some blowback, some very valid blowback, and some not so much. Sometimes it felt kind of mean girls. Was on season 9, blew out her knee. They sent her home. Said, you can't compete with this blown out knee, but we'll bring you back for season 10. She did very well. I don't know. Oh, she made a comment on her all-star lips, which is very apparent. And then there's going to be one more queen. And so if you watch on YouTube, you can see the first 15 minutes. And I saw that yesterday. And I was like, there just can't be another queen. Because they've done all the before season stuff, and that would mean that someone was missing, and it doesn't seem like that'd be smart. And I was thinking about it. I was like, maybe it would be Shangela. I would be happy they just kept doing all-star seasons, and they just kept bringing back people like Manila, Jujubee, Shangela, and just until they all got crowns, because they all deserve crowns. Anyway, they go ahead and do the reading challenge. Whew, this is not a group that excelled at the reading challenge. There were only a few of them that were even passable, I felt. I mean, I was watching this going, oh my gosh, if these were their best reads, because I assume that they read every single girl. I don't know if they do this or not. Read every single girl, or read, I don't know whether they didn't know who their queens were, so they didn't have reads ready. I don't know if I don't know what they did, but it was a pretty weak session. Ginger won, and that was like, it felt like she was one of the only people who did it. So anyway, sorry, and I didn't even tell you, the 14th queen was Miss Piggy, and Miss Piggy was the guest judge on for the reading challenge. It was this whole ongoing bit that she's BFFs with RuPaul, and then wasn't invited to the final judging anyway. It was cute. It was fine. And then they changed it from the May the Best Woman win to May the Best Drag Queen win. So that was a real big standout. Instead of being May the Best Woman win, it was May the Best Drag Queen win. Okay, main challenge, variety show. The variety show, much like the Snatch Game, you should come prepared. You should have it. This should be workshopped. You should have people looking at it. It needs to be good. From what I can tell, they got about a minute each. Jan came out and was a singer. I thought she was singing live. A lot of them had mics on, but I thought they were lip syncing. I'm no expert on who's lip syncing and who's singing live. I thought Jan was singing live. I thought it was super cute. I called it like a Britney Spears kind of vocal. Pandora came out, did a funny little song and dance. Jiggly came out. Her makeup looked so good. She looked so pretty. And then also did a little song. And then I was like, and then Kylie came out and did a sultry little song. And I'm like, are they all going to sing? And I think Jan sang. I do not think Pandora, Jiggly, or Kylie sang. Personal opinion, feel free to correct me in the comments. But I was like, oh no, they're all going to do these little performances that they wrote or had someone write for them about themselves. So Jan was all about, you know, the Janesy, and Pandora had a cute little ridiculous kind of thing and a little dance. And I was like, oh, these are all songs. So then Raja came out and did a Soda 1 minute dress. I was like, oh, thank goodness someone's going to do something different, because they might as well not call it a variety show if everyone's going to do that. So came out and did a 1 minute dress, very well done. Had you saw it had a little sewing machine, had scissors, had I forgot his name, Ross Matthews. I was like, the other guy, not Carson, time Raja and call out number. So that was a cute little thing, and they kind of got into it. They really were trying, like they weren't judging them super harshly. They were really trying. So it was calling out numbers and all that. It was really cute. Came out with kind of a scoop neck with came out really cute. Stood behind a thing, put it on. It did it in a minute. It was very impressive. So everybody should be able to learn how to make that one dress. Trinity was going to, right off the bat, fumbles, is going to do comedy. Right off the bat. Was not good. And then went into it knowing that everybody who does comedy goes in the bottom. So it was kind of like, unless you're a stand-up comedian, like you do this for a living and you're like, I would be ridiculous not to. Like, I've been a competitive archer for 20 years, so I probably would shoot archery because it seems like a given. Unless you're a stand-up comedian, and every time I see Trinity, I think of that line from Bianca. She reminds me of a dear old friend I had in New Orleans. She's dead. I always think of that, and then also Bianca. And it's so unfair to Trinity, but I always think of Bianca also saying, Trinity, I mean this sincerely. What do you do? Because everything we do, you say that's not your thing. So what is your thing? Whatever. They're always in the Bianca best of videos. Anyway, nothing is more painful to me. I'd rather listen to someone sing off key than like have jokes that don't land. It is so painful to me to watch. Eureka comes out, looks great. Thought it was Ginger Minge, although it's like 20% increase because Eureka is super tall. Did like a kind of a country, almost sounded like a gospel country kind of song. With this like this stuff being illuminated in the front of this big huge hoop dress. Scarlet Envy did kind of a cute bubble dance. I was like, thank you for not just singing a song. Not that all the songs were bad, but it was more of like, okay, you know, like at least if they're gonna all sing, then just call it a song competition. Silky came out, played the piano, had them all clap. And I kept going in and out. I don't have a great ear, so I kept going like, oh, she's really good. Oh, this doesn't sound right. Can she not sing? Oh, she can sing. Well, maybe she can't. Okay, no, that sounds good. And she's a good piano. Wait, why? What's going on? So it was very in and out. Had one joke in it at the end. And we'll get to the judges, but Serena just lip synced and had these wigs out. And so I was like, oh, she's going to like style a wig in a minute. She's going to do something. And then she just kind of, you know, around and then did nothing. Ginger Minge did like a K-pop song. It had like, it was about yummy and candy everywhere. And then Yara Sofia with these huge elastic boobs like danced around. And it was so chaotic and so weird, which is if you didn't see Yara Sofia's original season, that is her. And you can go watch that. I'm sure you can find a compilation video on YouTube. So chaotic, so weird. It has very much like a Vanjie quality to it in the sense of like, even when you don't understand what she's doing or she understands what she's doing, there's this like bubbly joy that just makes you laugh. Like if you're hanging out with your friends, you know, you're hanging out with your friends and you start laughing and someone's trying to say something and you have no clue what they're saying, but you can't stop laughing. It has that same bubbly energy to it. So anyway, we end up with half of them being safe, including Jan, which was the only one that I was like, yeah, for sure she'll be in the top. And I was like, oh my gosh. So Jan was not in the top. So everyone was excused except Silky, Trinity, Raja, Yara, Pandora, and Serena. So the critiques that they gave each of them, I pretty much agree with. Silky, they said it felt a bit off, felt like the tempo changed in the middle, and they were still clapping at one tempo and she was kind of playing at another, which made sense to me when I heard it. I didn't know that's what happened, but that explains what I watched it, what was going on. Trinity K Bonnet, they commented how beautiful she was, but that it just wasn't good. And then the third bottom was Serena. Same thing I said. They had these wigs. She did like one cha-cha step and they wish they had seen more of that, especially because her name is Serena Cha-Cha, but she didn't really do anything with the wigs. I agree with those three bottom. And then our tops were Raja, who made the dress, which was super fun. Yara Sofia, same thing. They could just like, they didn't know what they were watching, but it was great. And then they put Pandora in the top. I love Pandora. I would have put Jan. Love Pandora. Love, love, love Pandora. I was super worried that they were going to put Pandora in the bottom just because there wasn't a ton there and there wasn't a lot of variations. It wasn't like half of them flopped and half of them did great. I grouped a lot of these in the middle, and because they often they didn't seem to get Pandora the first time around. So I was wondering if maybe they were trying to address that, like, oh, we get it now. We totally understand funny queens. So I was a little worried they were going to put Pandora in the bottom just because of how we know the judging is. So I was super happy to see her in top. Yara Sofia won. I would have put Raja, but I don't have a problem with Yara Sofia. You know, I would have put Raja just because I thought it was something that wasn't just a song and a dance. But anyway, so Yara won. The rules are, if I remember correctly, the same as the last All-Stars. And that's where RuPaul explained it. I had forgotten about the whole... I had forgotten about a lot. I guess it's just been a long pandemic. But I had forgotten that the rules are the one queen who wins lip syncs against a lip sync assassin. If that person wins, they win the money and they get a vote off whoever they want. If they lose, the money rolls over to the next week and the group has voted and their vote sends someone home. It sounds a little complicated, but it basically means if the winner wins, they get all the control and money. If they don't, the group gets the control and the money rolls over to next week. So Yara Sofia is going to, and earlier on in the show, RuPaul teased this. It's a game within a game, and we still don't, as of this point, know what that is. Yara Sofia is going to go against the lip sync assassin, who is Coco Montrese. They did it to a song that I can't remember. Oh, Uptown Funk. I remembered. This is Uptown Funk. Very good on both hands. There were times I thought that maybe Yara Sofia didn't know all the words. It's hard to tell. It's just every once in a while you get that sensation that they're on a different time. Coco Montrese looked amazing. Great dancer. Coco Montrese wins, which means the money rolls over to next week. And they voted out Serena. So Serena goes home. I think well, we'll find out next week maybe what that is based on. Is there an Untucked? I don't know if there's an Untucked. I should have looked before I did this. I'll try to find out if there's an Untucked and I'll watch it. But anyway, Serena packs up, does the whole thing, is rolling to the door when, wait! RuPaul comes on the screen and says, Serena, the game's not over yet. This season, it's a game within the game. And Serena's like, okay, great, I'll play right now. End credits. Okay, so there we go. That is everything we know about episode 1. Please watch with me. Tell me in the comments if you have. Do you have any early front runners? I don't know that I do. I'm just keeping a super open mind. Yeah. I mean, I have some people that I personally have enjoyed in the past. We'll see what they do in the future. Okay, bye.